5 ways to de-ess. Let's talk. De-essing refers to reducing S sounds in vocal recordings or generally making audio less bright. So you're reducing high unwanted frequencies that might be harsh, fatiguing, or just unwanted. Don't overdo it though, because then your S's are going to start sounding more like F's. Fine. Love the song though. By the way, all these vocal recordings are from my new song Future Man. Go check it out. First up, the normal way to de-ess. My go-to normal de-esser that I actually used 0 times on this song is Sibilance by Waves. You see how we have the I can't see. C has an S, and then it detects that it has an S and reduces the volume of that S. I can't see far. You can lower the threshold. I can't see far. You can make the reduction more intense. I can't see far. And here you can fade between split and wideband compression. Let me just show you a different de-esser though to visualize this whole process a lot more nicely. I think Espresso by Klevgrand might be the best normal de-esser to showcase what a de-esser actually is supposed to do. First of all, you have the detector. This is kind of your side chain of the compressor. And this one you can dial in so it only hears S sounds. I can't see. Maybe something like... And you can solo the detector. And then it uses this side chain to compress the whole signal if it's in wideband mode. I can't see. Make it a bit more sensitive, a bit sharper ratio, lower the threshold. I can't see. I can't see. That's the premise of a de-esser. You can basically do this with any compressor that has a sidechain filter. Let's just use the free MCompressor to do the same thing. You enable the sidechain, you high pass the signal. I can't. Let's also monitor the sidechain signal directly. Dial in on the S sound. I can't see. Set your compressor. You can see the reduction on the reduction meter. I can't see. That's basically exactly the same thing as we just did in Espresso, but, I only have the demo of this one. But oftentimes you want to only compress a specific band. You can do this in Espresso with link. This is basically how any multiband compressor works. It listens to a specific band and compresses this specific band. I can't see far ahead. But the cool thing about many de-essers, and specifically Espresso that elevates it above just a regular compressor or multiband compressor, is this band mode. You have a detector and it can compress a different band that doesn't necessarily have to be the same band. So the sidechain listens to one thing and can compress any other thing. For example, I could even tell it to just, when an S comes, reduce the low end, which is not really what you want to do in de-essing, but it's possible. I can't see. That's the first way to de-ess. Let's look at the second way. Actually, there's only 4 ways to de-ess in this video because I already talked about dynamic compressors kind of. But of course, if you have a dynamic compressor setup, you can just compress the high end where the S's usually live independently, balance the whole signal, and de-ess your signal. Here I used M Dynamics MB. I didn't really use this compressor to de-ess here. I mostly used it to bring up some mid-range presence in the vocals. I can't see, 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 I can't see. In isolation it doesn't sound great, but I was happy with the final result. Anyways, let's move on to the real second way that you can de-ess. And that's something you can do with HorNet Sybilla. I think this is a really cool de-esser plugin. Let's just look what it does. I can't see far ahead in time and in space. You see it has various different filters, and it just reduces those frequencies that get a bit too loud. I really enjoy working with this de-esser. And if you think about it, this is kind of the same thing as you can do with something like Smooth Operator or Soothe or any spectral balancer plugin. Here you could also preserve the low end, just listen to anything above, where was this plugin at? Was at 4K? So let's also preserve to 4K. And now we can reduce the global threshold. I can't see far ahead in time and in space. And you see how it's just reducing the specific frequencies above 4K and a bit lower, so maybe we should put this a bit higher. That might stick out of a general white noise nice balance. I think this kind of de-essing is maybe the one you have to be most careful with, so you don't get the infamous F sound. You could do this with Smooth Operator. I do like the workflow of HorNet Sybilla quite a bit though, and I've been using it quite a lot. I got Sybilla on these vocals.
We can't see anything but the past.
Turn it off.
We can't see anything but the past.
Turn it on.
We can't see anything but the past.
It's subtle because I do want my S's to be still audible.
We can't see anything but the past.
But even with 100% effect, it still sounds pretty good. Now for number 3. I think this is the newest way that de-essers started working recently. Maybe there's some AI involved in some of them. I don't think there's in this one, but generally the idea is that spectrally a plugin decides what part of it, not what frequency, but what section is an S, and then you can control the volume of those S's independently without affecting the tonal balance. See, in this WA Productions VocalShaper, you have a listen button for the S volume, and this actually detects the S's pretty reliably. And then you can just turn down those S's. It doesn't sound as convincing though if you disable the listen button, but like this is the normal volume of the S's.
Can't see far ahead in time and in space.
And now we turn them down.
Can't see far ahead in time and in space.
Turn it up.
Can't see far ahead in time and in space.
I think it's pretty good. You go to volume. You can take this S, turn down the volume.
I can't see far.
That's probably not something that you want. But that's another way to de-ess, and you can do it with, for example, WA Productions VocalShaper. And now the final 4th, 5th, maybe even 6th way that you can de-ess a signal is with something like Tone Boosters Equalizer Pro. This plugin has something they call Sibilance filters, and those are dynamic equalizer bands that only react to frequencies if they kind of are off balance. Probably compares the signal to pink noise, and if some frequencies stick out of the pink noise, for example, an S is going to have too little low end, so in comparison the high end is going to be too loud. That's why it can actually very reliably detect S sounds. It knows, here we have too much high end, let's compress it. And it works so well.
I can't see far ahead in time and in space.
And it doesn't only work on high end, you can use it on any frequency range. If something sticks out of the tonal balance, it compresses that selectively, but you have to set all the filters manually. So this is very different workflow from something like Smooth Operator. But I really like that you can have a lot more broad control and it's not as spectral or detailed. So it keeps a lot of the details as they are. You just do some broader tone shaping with it. But it works so well. And I've been also using this a lot on masters.
I can't see far ahead in time and in space. Can't eat, can't sleep,
I also had it on this vocal, but I think I deactivated it because the S's here were starting to get a bit too dull.
Can't eat, can't sleep. Can't eat, can't sleep.
Yeah, that sounds better. There's VocalShaper on this as well.
Can't eat, can't sleep.
Turning down the S's a bit without.
Can't eat, can't sleep. Can't eat, can't sleep.
This is actually doing a lot of good for this vocal. Anyways, these are 3 to 6 ways that you can de-ess your signal. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching. Go stream my new song or buy it on Bandcamp. It's called Future Man by Baron Lane. See you again soon.
Future